Perhaps you, dear listener, are aware that I work in palliative care. And that typically means that, I work with patients who have been diagnosed with serious illnesses and they're navigating the journey. They're navigating the illness and all that that may entail, right? We could just imagine any diagnoses and then sort of the gamut of physical, mental, emotional, social, just all of the ways that, or the layers that come up. So I work with people who are receiving palliative care. And to palliate is hopefully to reduce the angst, the suffering, and to usher in or invite in a level of reprieve and ease and something that maybe just reduces the suffering. It's not about undoing, a lot of times we can't undo, but hopefully we can offer something that reduces suffering, even if it's, the mental suffering, the approach to this devastating reality. And the reason why I'm thinking about palliative care and thinking about a couple of patients is because today this word productivity came up, and then it had me thinking about productivity and how we live in this culture and society here in the United States and perhaps other cultures and societies, but I'm here, so I'm going to be here now, where we're driven by produce, where we wake up like, I need to be productive. I need to contribute to the world. I can't sit still. I've got to make the most and be productive. And today, while talking with these two very distinct people who have very distinct realities, I was talking about how we might redefine productivity and not see it as a word where, it's about the outcome or the output. I have to wake up and execute and do 1 through 10, by 1 o'clock. But to see it and redefine it as a word that simply means time well spent. And it was like, well, what do you mean, time well spent? When we stop thinking about the output, about all of the things that we feel we have to do. Oh, I've got to get up and be great at my job, or I've got to navigate the children, or handle the household, or care for the person, or satisfy everyone's thoughts, wishes, and dreams about how I should be moving through the world. I have to be productive. Instead of that, seeing how time well spent is something as simple as a nap. A nap is not a waste of time, it is time well spent. Because the body needs rest, it needs to recover, it needs to heal. Productivity, redefined as time well spent, means taking a walk, being in nature, reflecting, giving time to our thoughts so that we can understand ourselves, sitting, doing nothing, because doing nothing is in fact doing something when we are going within and investigating. Time well spent is putting the computer and the work to the side for the company of the connection with those we love, in conversation with people we appreciate and respect, catching up with friends. Being productive, when redefined, is time well spent as we choose to spend it, that does not exhaust us of our time and energy and doesn't deplete us and leave us with nothing. Because after we're productive in an output way, it never ends, and there's the tired and drained and more expectations, more things to be productive over when we think of output. But I want to invite us to look at productivity through a different lens, a lens that leads us to more quality in our lives and less angst. Because often the more productive we feel, it's like, oh, I have a sense of accomplishment. I've done all these things. And what we've done a lot of times is added more stress, more worry, more concern, more thoughts that are running rampant, a busier mind, more anxiety and restlessness at night, because it never ends. It is a cycle that circles the circumference of all the things. It just keeps going and going and going. And this is not to say that productivity in an output way is not essential in society. Of course. Of course. Come on, right? All things are necessary. And I'm not responsible for all things that are in fact necessary. And if I'm going through something already in my life, such as a diagnosis, does it not serve me to kind of hit pause so that I can meet the layers, so that I can meet the treatment, so that I can meet the grief? And often it's like, oh, I don't have time to sit and be. I need to, continue on. Yes, but we've done that already, and where are we now? It's okay to do something else. It's okay to try something new, to pause, because we all know that the pause isn't forever. We will return, we will resume to crossing something off the list, yes. And if we only focus on productivity from an output place, we do not extend to ourselves the gift of presence, the gift of understanding, the gift of lay it down and be. It's okay to kick our shoes off and elevate our feet and rest our head atop a pillow. People are like, oh, that's a waste of time. No, it's actually time well spent, because you've done so much and it's leaving you ever exhausted, ever depleted. And when does the doing end? How far do we have to go before we give ourselves rest, relaxation, recovery? Do we have to burn ourselves to the ground first, where instead of a nap or rest or relaxation or recovery or healing, we're now in a hospital trying to deal with heart palpitations because of stress or stroke, or the anxiety and the panic attacks because our bodies and minds are saying red flag, overwhelm, too much. And we're like, no, I've got a little room for a little bit more. I can do more, but I can't afford to stop at the it's too much. There are still things to be done. I need to be productive. And eventually the body says, okay, well, I tried to ask for what I needed, but now I'm going to demand it, and so here is the outcome of your reality. May I kick my shoes off now and elevate my feet and rest my head atop a pillow now? So I want us to give thought to redefining productivity as simply time well spent, so that we can be with the quality of our lives, so that we can be with the connections that our life present us with. We can have time to cultivate love and friendship, that we can read a book, write a poem, sing a song, dance in the living room, sleep until noon, luxuriate in the spaciousness of time, because it's doing something for the body. It's doing something for the mind, for the spirit, for the soul. And when we're cultivating the good of those, is that not time well spent? I mean, that's the best time. Otherwise, we're just carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. We're executing to our detriment. And the more we do, the more productive, the farther we get from ourselves. And the smaller we become to ourselves. When we don't highlight that rest and relaxation, that renewal, the way we highlight productivity from an output place. Ooh, what do you mean? What do you mean rest? Oh no. Sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. You will actually not sleep when you're dead. You'll be dead when you're dead. You won't know sleep. But imagine sleeping while you're alive so that you can live well and better. Whether you have 5 minutes left to live or 500 years. Productivity can be a great thing when we allocate sort of the appropriate mindset to it, where we put it inside a functional system. Otherwise, productivity will be like weeds overtaking a garden. And it becomes our responsibility to cultivate that garden in a way where the weeds are checked and the beauty takes up the space, takes up the oxygen in the room. And that beauty for ourselves is really self-time, self-focus, pausing. And we want to model that for our children. We want to give people permission to sit down, to hold hands and go for a walk, to laugh, to cry. Because we can be so productive in an output way that we don't even allow ourselves to laugh, to feel, to cry, to dance. We just dwell always in the angst. But there is another way, another definition. Productivity, time well spent. When I go to bed at night and I get 7.5 hours of sleep, to me, that's time well spent. Could I have been pumping out the next greatest idea and app? Maybe. Well, maybe not, because, maybe my brain doesn't go in that direction, but you get my point. But sleep is like a good thing. I don't have to produce something every moment of my life. That is not why I'm here existing in form. I'm here for a whole host of other reasons, but not to pump out something every moment of my being. So time well spent, being productive in a time well spent way, is really to bring, it's like to flip productivity on its head and to bring rest, renewal, healing, relaxation to the fore. We've been doing since time opened the door unto itself. And many will do. They will not miss me inside of the doing. So, to be productive in a time well spent is to highlight and underscore the being. Just be. Oh, I don't know what to do with myself. And that is an indication that you need to sit a little longer until you realize and recognize, like, oh, actually, I enjoyed sleeping in, or I enjoyed taking that off of my to-do list. I thought I would really miss not being so active and running around, or FOMO. But I actually liked being able to sift through my magazine subscription that's piling up, or finish that book, or watch that series, or cook something, or not eat in the car on the go to the next thing in between meetings to be productive, but to honor self, to honor our lives by pausing enough to be with ourselves inside of our lives. So let us think on productivity redefined as time well spent. And let's cultivate what that is for ourselves. So that when we look out the window, we see the blossoming beauty of the garden we're cultivating because we're pausing. And we're not overwhelmed by the weeds that have been allowed to just take over because we're so productive. Let's produce a little less in the external so that we can produce a little more within. That sounds like a productive way of being. Yes, that sounds like time well spent. So on this day and the days to follow, let's see what you might change. Let's see the room and space that you create in order to rest, relax, renew, take a nap, heal, just be. Maybe you'll paint, journal, doodle. You know, I like to doodle. Draw little flowers and hearts randomly. Maybe you'll go for a walk or call someone you miss whose ear company you enjoy. Maybe you just won't do that task and see how it feels to just park it a little longer, stay put a little longer. I encourage that for me and for all of the yous out there listening, if it resonates. Because it's all about what resonates, and then we integrate, and then we can practice. And so here is to that. May we produce a little less externally so that we can produce more within. Time well spent. And thank you for pausing long enough to spend this time with me. May it have been time well spent, where something sort of piqued your curiosity or interest, or allowed you to do a head nod, or okay, let's see, or even skepticism. I'll take it. We're all different. We don't always have to be in agreement. But I do appreciate you lending me your ear. And I hope that you swing back around next week and lend me your ear again. I appreciate you. Until then.